Hi everyone, we're going to make a quick multiple choice quiz on Scratch. I hope you enjoy this video, hope it helps you out. I'm going to start by changing the name of my project to quiz. I'll delete the Scratch cat, I won't be using him in my project. Next up, I'm going to create some backdrops. And I'm going to create these backdrops in vector mode. I'm going to call this first one Start Screen. And this one right here, I'm going to call 1. And I'm just going to put my questions on the backdrop. I'm going to move this one up above. So my start screen is going to come after, and I think it'll be clear why I do that by the end of this tutorial. Once I have one question done, I can just duplicate it and edit. All right, we have our start screen, and then we have our 3 questions on 3 different backdrops. They're numbered 1, 2, and 3. So next up, I am going to make a sprite. I'm going to draw him. I'm going to start with the ellipse tool. And then I'm going to click this one. It allows me to move these points a little bit. I'm going to try to make it look a little bit more like a button. And let me put a little bit of code on the sprite. When the green flag is clicked, this sprite is going to show up. And when this sprite is clicked, we're going to broadcast a message. That message that we're going to broadcast is going to be called start game. So when we broadcast a message, what it does is it sends out a signal to all the other sprites and backdrops and everything in our program so that they know that this is the start of the game. I'm also going to make it hide after it broadcasts start game. So when the green flag is clicked, it shows up, you click it, and it disappears, and it broadcasts start game. So now we have to figure out what we want to happen when the start game is clicked. And I'm going to put some code on the backdrops. So I'll start with the start screen, and I'll go to code. When the green flag is clicked, switch to backdrop start screen. Now I'm going to the all right, I'm going to go back to the start screen and go back to the code. So when the green flag is clicked, show start screen. Then I want when receive the message start game. I'm going to put some code in here. First, I think what I need to do is I need to create a list. So I'm going to go into variables. I'm going to say make a list. That list is going to be called correct answers. Now I have to go back to my backdrops because I have to remember what the questions are. So the answer to this question is A. The answer to this question is A. And the answer to this question is A. All my questions are A. I think I'm going to change some of them. Oh, no, this is C. So it's C. Sorry about that. It's C, A, and then A. Maybe I'll change this one to be D. Okay, so what do we got? We got C is the correct answer, A is the correct answer, and D. Okay. It's important that we know the correct answers when we're making the list of correct answers. So on my start screen in my code, I'm going to add an item to the list of correct answers. First one I'm going to add is C, then A, and then D. And it's important we put them in that order, and it'll become clear to you why in a little bit. We're going to make another variable, not a list this time, but just a variable, and it's going to be called chosen question. The reason why we're creating a variable for the chosen question is we want our questions to appear randomly. So we're going to set chosen question to a random number. Pick random between 1 and I think we can do length of correct answers. Then what we're going to do is we are going to switch the backdrop to chosen question. So if we press play, we go to the first screen, we hit the start game, and then we go to a random question. So far, so good. Next up, I'm going to broadcast another signal. I'm going to broadcast answer the question. All right. And I'm going to duplicate this sprite. And I need to edit it a little bit. Instead of start game, this is just going to be A. And I'm going to want to make it a little bit smaller. How is that? Looks a little bit funky, but it's all right. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. All right, that's going to be our A button. Oh, I think I just deleted it by accident, so let me make that again. All right, we got our A button again. Now, on our A button, when the green flag is clicked, we want it to hide. And when receive answer the question, then we want it to show. All right, and we're going to create another variable. The new variable is going to be called player answer. when this sprite is clicked, set player answer to A, because it's the A button. What we can do now is we can duplicate this a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4. This looks good. And now we'll just edit the other ones. So this will be button B. We'll set the player answer to B. This will be C. We'll set the player answer to C. All right, we got our our 4 answer buttons, and they should appear when receive the answer broadcast goes out. So we have our start game. We click on start game, and they do appear. And we have a random question, but they kind of appear all over the screen. So let us fix that. All right, those are spaced out a little bit better. So we have our start game, and then our buttons appear. Awesome. Next up, we want to broadcast question answered, a new message. And the tricky part is figuring out how we're going to know when one of these is clicked. So we're going to broadcast a new message. It's going to be called question answered. But how are we going to know when one of those are clicked? And I'll show you a little trick. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to set player answer, that variable we created, and we're going to set it to nil, to nothing. And then we're going to say wait until player answer is greater than 0. Actually, to be specific, we're going to say wait until length of player answer is greater than 0. Let me find the greater than. And inside of variables, here it is. Inside of operators, there's length of, and then we can say length of player answer. Yeah, that looks good. Wait until length of player answer is greater than 0, then broadcast question answered. And because we set it to nil right before that, once they hit that, then the question answered will come out. So on these buttons, when it receives question answered, then we're going to hide again. All right, now we're going to go back to that coding on the backdrop. And we need an if statement because we have to check to see if what they put was correct. I'm going to use this operator sign equal sign. And we're going to go down to our variables. If player answer item of correct answers. We can't say item 1 because it's random and they're coming in a different order. But we have one called chosen question. So if the player answer is equal to item, the chosen question of the correct answers, then it will be correct. And that is why we put these backdrops in this order: 1, 2, 3, and they need to be before the start screen, because that way we can make our code a little bit more efficient. So if that happens, it's going to be right, else it is going to be incorrect. So let's go to our backdrops really quickly, and let's make, I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to call it correct. You might be able to draw a better explosion than I can, but that's what I got right now. And then I'm going to make another one. In case they got that question wrong. So going back to the code behind our start screen. Oh, I called wrong correct too. I think I'm going to go fix that just so it's easier for me later. So this one's called correct, which makes it easy, and this one's called correct too, but it's actually wrong, so that's a little bit confusing. So I'm going to change this to wrong. All right, back to our coding. So if they answer it correctly, if the player answer equals item chosen answer of correct answers, then we're going to switch to correct. Else, we're going to switch to wrong. I think we should also add a score here. So I'm going to go back to variables. I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to call it score. All right. When the green flag is clicked, I want to set score to 0. And then if they get it right, I want to change score by 1. We're also going to need a weight in here too. So we'll stay on that correct or wrong backdrop for about a second. All right. What we want now is we want a repeat block, and we're going to put. Let me pull this off real quick. We're going to put the repeat block around all this code that we just did, and we are going to repeat the number of correct answers. So if there's 3 correct answers, we'll repeat 3 times. If we add extra correct answers, then we'll repeat more times. I want to test out the project just to see how it's going. Start game. I see what's happening. It's not working for me because I said repeat correct answers, but what I really want to say is I want to say repeat length of correct answers. So let me try that again. Okay, we hit the green flag. We got our start screen. We hit start game. We have a random question appears with 3 answers. The correct answer is A. If I press A, I got it correct. Then another question appears. The correct answer is C. This time I'm going to get it wrong. And then the wrong appears. Oh, but wait. It asked me the third question, but it's a repeat of the previous question. So I don't want to have repeats of previous questions. So I'm going to show you how you can get rid of that. And we're going to do that by making a new list. That new list is going to be called questions asked. And when the green flag is clicked, we want to delete all of questions asked. Then when we choose a question, we want to add chosen questions to questions asked. So we want a repeat until. And we want to repeat asking a question. So this block of code right here, we want to keep asking a question until until all the questions have been asked. So the way that works is we need a not operator. And we're going to put that in here. We're going to repeat until questions asked does not contain chosen question. Here we go. So this reads a little bit funny, but it's repeat until questions asked does not contain chosen answer. And we can put that right up here. And then after they select a question, then we're going to add this block that's add chosen question to question asked. And if we run it, we shouldn't get any repeats. So number 1 was added to questions asked. We're going to get it right, correct. Now question 2 was added to question asked. So even though it's random, it's coming in order. I'm going to get this one wrong. Okay, and so my score is only 1, and I'm going to get this last one right. So I ended up with a score of 2. So I think at the end, we probably want like a game over screen showing our questions right, I think. So let me create that game over screen. Go into backdrops. All right, and for my final screen, I loaded in my favorite sprite, which is just my cat. I'm going to edit him a little bit. Oh, sorry. I need to convert to bitmap to erase that stuff. All right, it's a little bit cleaner. And then I'm going to convert to vector so I can resize him. Make him a little bit smaller. I'll have him appear right at the bottom. All right, so where are we in our code? I'm going to go back to our backdrop. And at the end, I'm going to broadcast one more message. Broadcast, new message, game over. And I'm going to switch to my game over screen. Oh, I wonder what I called my game over screen. I'm going to go back to my backdrops really quickly. Oh no, it looks like I wrote over my wrong screen. So let me call this game over. And let me create a new screen, a new backdrop for wrong. I hope you guys are following along at home. I made a few errors on this one, but I think in the end we're going to get it all right. So we have our 3 question screens. We have our start screen, we have our correct screen, we have our wrong screen, and we have our game over screen. This looks good. All right, so now I can go back to that coding. Switch to game over. So this one right here, my wrong has switched. So let me switch that to wrong. Okay. If it's correct, say correct. If it's wrong, say wrong. Switch to backdrop game over, broadcast game over. And then I'm going to have my cat talk when the game over is broadcast. And I'm going to use some of these join blocks. I think I'm going to use 3. I'm going to bring in 4 just in case. I'm going to say you got score. Oh, I'm going to need another one. I'm going to put space out of space. And then I have to do length of correct answers. And I don't need that one after all. So that is what he is going to say for 2 seconds. Maybe make it 3. Let me hit my green flag, see how everything's working. Okay, green flag, start the quiz game. I forgot to hide my sprite. So when the green flag is clicked, hide. When I receive game over, show. Oops. All right, let's try it again. All right, start quiz, start game. Correct. Correct. Wrong. Game over. You got 2 out of 3. Awesome. That's what I wanted. One thing I'm going to do before I end is I'm going to go into these variables, and I'm not going to show these lists or these variables on the game. I don't think I'm going to show my score either. It just makes it look a little bit cleaner. So that is how you make a multiple choice quiz. I hope you enjoyed that. If you do, let me know in the comments. All right, thanks a lot.